Ladies and gentlemen, I just finished watching Severance Season 2, Episode 3, and I don't know how much crazier this show could get. I have to say off the rip that this is, in my opinion, the best episode so far of the show, and we still have a lot, of course. I guess maybe at least it's the best episode of Season 2 so far that we've gotten. There's just so much here that opens so many doors for me that I don't even know. This show, just being realistic, this show is going over my head. I don't even know how to talk about it sometimes because I think everything that happens, I'm like, what, where, who, how? Like, it just continues to just get better and better and better. But this episode essentially just focused on, I guess, really Mark and Helly trying to communicate with these goat people. And then on top of that, we got to see like Miss Cobell and some things like that with her and Helena coming into the forefront. But that sounds pretty basic on paper, but so much went down this episode. Didn't even mention like Dylan. I didn't even mention some of the stuff with freaking Milch. I didn't even mention half the stuff that went down. Essentially, the way this episode starts is we see Mark S. start to time his commutes into the office. So from the moment he parks to the moment he gets into his elevator to go down to become severed, we're seeing him time it and go as fast as he can. He puts on a watch and he starts timing the entire thing to see how long it takes him. And we don't know why that's the case for majority of the episode, but essentially we learn later on, because I think I'm going to talk about this now and just go on to other stuff after this, but we learned that the reason he was doing this at the beginning of the episode was so that he can burn something into his eyes with light, basically saying who is alive, and by the time he gets down to the severed floor, it will still be in his eyes when he blinks to see that message indicating to his innie that his outie left him a message to find something. But I thought that was a little goofy, which we also get acknowledgement of through the doctor lady whose name I forget later in the episode. But I thought it was kind of stupid because it is true. Like, yeah, okay, great. You burnt something into your eyes and you gave him a message. But what does that message do? Like, how is the innie going to get a message out? He doesn't have this contraption to make another eye thing like that or anything. He can't get paper out. So I was wondering, just as much as I think all of us, what the point of that even was. And I'm glad that gets addressed later, because what it turns out to be is something we're going to save towards the end because it's fascinating. So definitely stick around for that. We're going to get to it. But essentially, that's one of the biggest plot points of this episode. The other thing that happens in this, and this is a smaller detail just because there's a lot here that happened that I want to talk about, is Seth Milchek. He gets a picture of Egan or Kier or one of the others, the founders. I don't know, one of the Egans, the Kiers, one of the people, whatever. He gets a picture of them to help him feel identified within the company or help him feel like he's, included in the company. And literally what they did was they just took the pictures of Kier or Egan or whoever and just made them black. And that's it. And you could see that it affects Seth in a way because it starts to show you that there's more of a human to him and that there's more of an identity there than what we've seen so far. Because at least for me, as of right now, I thought Mr. Milchek, it was literally just one of those like 24/7 severed employees because we don't see anything else from him. We don't see his personal life. We don't see anything except for his very, hello, Mark. How are you? Dance party? Like, we don't see anything else from that. So to see this is an indication that there is a human there somewhere. It's not just all innie, but I'm very interested to see where that goes. And when I say innie, I don't necessarily mean he is an innie and is severed, because we don't know if he is or not. We're not sure. But he gives off the persona of an innie. So I don't know, but I'm glad we got to see a more human side to him. And I think that even comes into fruition when we see him with the lady who represents the board, whose name I also don't know. And she kind of gives him that look of acknowledgement like, yeah, I know, like, this is fucked. Which I'm glad we got. Like, I'm glad we're getting more there. I'm glad we're getting to see Mr. Milchek in more of a human role. We still don't see something like that from, like, Miss Cobell. Miss Cobell is just basically evil. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it. We haven't seen anything good from her yet. but I'm glad there's something there with Mr. Milch that we're getting to explore and see. So that's, I think, really cool. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my iPad because, as you could tell, I might be in a different setting than you've ever seen before. This is where I film all my videos, but my camera's dead, and I wanted to do this quick because it's on my mind. So we talked about Seth. Oh, here's the other one that I wanted to talk about. Denise from The Walking Dead was in this episode. Can't remember her name. I think I have that up somewhere over here. I don't know if I do. It might be a waste of time for me to figure this out, but, oh, Merritt Weaver. Her name is Merritt Weaver. This lady, she was in The Walking Dead, and she was in this show, and I couldn't believe it. It was weird seeing her. I was like, whoa, I haven't seen you since you got a freaking dart in your eye, or whatever you call it. Whatever. Anyway, so Denise was in this episode, but the reason I bring this up and just went off course is because her character is the wife of Dylan, and what we got was really interesting. Dylan was taken somewhere by that little girl. In the maze of hallways, he's taken to this room that I know Mr. Milchick had previously promised, but when Dylan goes into this room, he just hears ocean sounds, and it's ominous, and it's honestly creepy. And who's in there? His wife, Denise from The Walking Dead, whose name I don't remember in the story, of course, because that's the running theme of this episode. There's a lot of characters whose names I don't really know. Anyway, Denise is there, and she's essentially talking to Dylan about, you know, the Audi Dylan and things like that. But I found it really interesting that in that sequence, we have the little kid who's there essentially the whole time, like watching what she says, and comes on the intercom and is like, you can't do this, you can't do that, like no personal items or whatever and stuff like that. It's really eerie. It's just really creepy how that all went down. And sorry, you guys, my light just went out. This is a little bit sporadic of a video, whatever. Anyway, I like that we got that, and I like that we got to see this kind of interesting dichotomy where Denise, I don't know her name, so that's what I'm calling her, Merritt's actress, or Merritt's character, I should say. She is essentially talking to Dylan and explaining how Audi Dylan is. And in doing so, you could tell that she's unhappy with Audi Dylan. And I think that might spark something pretty interesting in the story. I have a feeling within this season, we're going to get this kind of subplot point of Dylan and his Audi wife falling in love with one another. Because even though it's Dylan, it's also not Dylan that she's falling in love with. I think that's going to make for a really interesting parallel to see, and I'm very, very excited to see where that takes the story, because we haven't got something like that before, and I just, in general, I think it's going to be really cool. But, all right, so those were some of the biggest things that happened. The other big thing that happened is Brienne of Tarth was in this episode, which was crazy. I'm surprised Jaime wasn't there either after his abysmal ending to Game of Thrones. I'm just joking, but the actress who plays Brienne of Tarth in The Walking Dead, in Jesus Christ, this is sporadic. Again, I'm sorry. The actress who plays Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones was in this episode, and she was one of the goat overseers, I guess. There's this whole side quest in the episode where Mark and Helly essentially go to the goat area and they meet all the goat people, I guess you could call them. I know there was a name for it in the episode, which I'm not remembering, but they go there and they try to get information about Mark's wife. His name again is escaping me. I'm very sorry, guys. It's late, okay? It's late. Regardless, that all happened, but nothing really came of it other than the fact that they did see her, and then they wanted to see Mark S's and Helly's belly button. But I'll be interested to see where that goes, because I'd assume they're going to become allies within the story. Something that happened a little bit before that, though, that made me think it's Helena who is Helly and not actual Helly R, is Mark essentially goes to kiss Helly, but Helly kind of just like pushes back from it. And it made me almost solidified for me the fact that that's not Helly R. That's Helena Egan. That's who we got in the story. But I don't know. Obviously the proof isn't fully there yet, but I think something Sussingham Palace is going on, because it's very interesting the way that whole went down, because you could tell Helly or Helena was very uncomfortable with Mark trying to go in for a kiss, but Mark didn't know why, and it was off. And ever since she's came back this season, it's just felt off. And the more we're seeing with Helena this season, the more it seems like she's connected to this in a way that we haven't seen yet. I don't know where that's going to go, but I really don't think that that's Helly. I think that's Helena down there. And I'm very curious to see how that plays out. The last thing that happens in this episode, and arguably the biggest thing that happens in this episode, is Mark getting his brain, what's the word I'm looking for? Why can't I find the word off the top of my head? What's it called? Re thing. You know what I'm talking about. Re-entry. I forget the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's just not there yet. He gets like reintroduced to the world where his brain goes back to normal after the severance procedure from that doctor. Forget the name. Whatever. Anyway, he gets that procedure done, and it's really interesting to see the way they do it. They have like all the brain waves, and they have a wire for each brain wave connecting together. And that makes sense as to what this introduction was for these past 2 episodes of all of, you see Mark in the pajamas, then you see Mark in work clothes, and all of that intertwining, and he's sleepy and all of that. Obviously, this doctor said that she's done this procedure on other patients since PD. I don't know how much time has technically passed in this world, but that's what happens. I thought it was really amazing, really quick side note, thought it was really amazing to see how Mark S. was so adamant so quickly on doing this procedure just because he realized that his wife could potentially be alive down there. There was no hesitation. It was like instantaneous. He's in. Boom, done. He's in. I thought that was very interesting to see. I mean, obviously we know how depraved he is given the situation, but it was just, it was something. It was something, all right. That's what I gotta say. But this just opens such a can of worms for what's to come this season, because now we have him back in reintegration. That's what it's called, reintegration. He was reintegrated, and now he's going to go back to work being reintegrated. What does that mean? Because we didn't get to scratch much of the surface of that with Petey. So what? Like, man, I am so excited to see where this takes the rest of the story. I really hope it explodes from here. I don't know where else it's going to go, but my God, I can't wait to see it all. This show is just getting better episode by episode. And obviously, if you're watching this, you've seen the show. But if you're watching this because you haven't seen the show and you just want to hear me talk about it, go watch the show. It is that good. It really is. I'm trying to get people in my personal life on it, but they're like, oh, you're just watching it. You're just talking about it because of your videos. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's good. Watch the freaking show. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's what I mean. You need to see it. I'm sure you have if you're watching this, but I could go on and on. It's so freaking good. And I feel like this is one of those shows where I need to rewatch over and over again to understand what's going on. And that's good. That's good TV. Freaking bravo, Ben Stiller. Seriously, incredible. With all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode down in the comments. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.